What finally made you cut off your toxic family? For years, my life revolved around my parents' finances. Not because they were poor, but because they were terrible with money and I was their permanent safety net. Every few months, it was a new crisis. The car broke down, a medical bill they forgot about, a credit card they'd maxed out on a vacation they couldn't afford. My role was simple. I was the responsible one. I'd get the frantic phone call, listen to the dramatic story of their latest misfortune, and then I'd transfer the money. It was never a loan because they never paid it back. It was just an expectation. My own savings account was a joke. I put off buying a house, I drove a 15-year-old car, I rarely took vacations. My money wasn't mine, it was the family emergency fund. The emotional blackmail was constant. "We sacrificed so much for you," my mom would say. "This is what family does for each other." If I ever hesitated, I was selfish, ungrateful. My brother, who lived on the other side of the country and never gave them a dime, was the golden child. I was just the reliable utility. The escalation began when they decided to sell their house and downsize. They mismanaged the entire process, ending up with less money than they expected and a 2-month gap before their new apartment was ready. The call came as expected. "We have nowhere to go. We'll be homeless." I did what I always did. I paid for a long-term hotel stay for them, costing me thousands. During this time, my dad's old truck finally died. It was a rust bucket, but he loved it. He called me in tears. "It's the last thing I have that feels like mine." So I did the stupidest thing I've ever done. I drained the last of my savings and co-signed a loan for a new truck for him. I told myself it was the last time. A month later, I got a call from my aunt. She was worried. She said my parents had been telling everyone that they were coming into a big inheritance from a distant relative who had just passed away. I had no idea what she was talking about. I called my mom. She was evasive at first, but then the story came out. A great uncle had died, and my parents were expecting a significant payout. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, my voice trembling. "We could have used that for the apartment deposit or the truck." Her response hit me like a physical blow. "Well, honey, we didn't want to tell you because we were afraid you wouldn't feel the need to help us anymore." It all clicked. They weren't in crisis. They had money coming, they just didn't want to use it. They wanted to use mine. They kept me in a state of manufactured panic so I would keep paying their way, while they saved their own incoming cash for themselves. They weren't drowning, they were just holding my head under the water to keep themselves afloat. The next day, my dad called. "The dealership needs your final signature on the loan paperwork for the truck." I just said, "No." There was a long silence. "What do you mean no?" he asked. "I mean no," I said. "I'm not signing it, that's your problem now." He started screaming, a torrent of abuse and threats about how they'd disown me, how I was a terrible daughter. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just listened until he ran out of breath, and then I said, "Is that all?" and hung up the phone. I changed my number the next day. The feeling wasn't anger. It was quiet. It was the feeling of a heavy weight I didn't even know I was carrying being lifted. It was freedom.